What is passivity? What is passivity? See, what I've observed is that a lot of people today are weak-willed people. Weak-willed people. They seem to struggle to follow through and do what they intend to do. They hardly ever live beyond their good intentions. I don't know if you've noticed that. You can have good intentions, but not actually live beyond the good intentions, where you actually do what you said you would do. At the root of this behavior, what I've found is that it's often mental passivity. Mental passivity. So although the behavior manifests in procrastination, manifests in being faint-hearted, at the root of it very often is someone who is passive in their mind. You see, most dictionaries will describe passivity as one of these, okay, or a combination of these factors that I want to highlight. Remaining inactive, a lack of initiative, passiveness, inertia, inactiveness, inactivity, a disposition to remain inactive or inert. Those of you who did chemistry remember the inert gases, the noble gases, okay? So for example, he had to overcome his inertia and get back to work. Sometimes it's described as spiritlessness. Spiritlessness. There's some people who have that factor in their lives. Spiritlessness, numbness, apathy, lethargy, indifference. The trait of lacking enthusiasm for something or interest in things, generally speaking. Torpor, torpidity, listlessness, inactivity resulting from lethargy and lack of vigor or energy. How many of you ever feel like that? You see, in order to be people that live beyond good intentions, we need to deal with passivity in our lives. And I believe that it's a spiritual dimension we're talking about. It's not just natural passivity. It's a passivity of the mind, and very often it's demonically inspired. I don't know if you've had experiences of this, where sometimes when you sit next to someone or you walk with someone who's very passive, and it has been ignited by a spiritual dynamic, you actually start feeling passive yourself. You suddenly feel sleepy. You suddenly feel tired. Well, we can't get kingdom things done if we're under this particular thing. And I'm hoping that after this message, we'll have an opportunity to really pray into this and to uproot it from our lives. You see, many people are entrenched in a worldview of fatalism. Fatalism. And this worldview asserts that events are fixed in advance so that human beings are powerless to change those events. And this breeds a mindset of passivity. And many people who are well-meaning Christians who love Jesus, unfortunately their minds have not been renewed in this particular area, so they become passive. I believe that passivity begins in the mind, and so we're essentially dealing with mental passivity. You see, the enemy has besieged the minds of many believers. The devil has limited access to our human spirits, especially when we are born again. The devil has limited access to our human spirits, but he entices our minds to a place of passivity. And the result is that believers end up living like they are not saved. They live like they're unbelievers. Okay? And so important to really understand this, because in essence, they become fruitless and useless. You see, your mind is a powerful gate that impacts the quality of your will and your emotions. I'm going to say that again. Your mind is a powerful gate that impacts the quality of your will and your emotions. And we know that in order to do greater things, we need our will to be involved. And so many Christians are weak-willed because their minds are passive. It's so important to understand this, because if you don't understand this truth, what tends to happen is that you can listen to messages, you can read books, but if you're weak-willed and you're bound by a passive mind, nothing happens. And I want to speak this message today, and I'm believing God that He's going to free us from this spirit of passivity, you see. And what happens is, when you are weak-willed, when you've got a will that is weak, when you're faint-hearted, what tends to happen is it influences the theme of this series, getting things done. You'll never get things done.